Wanjala, you've heard from the Right Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka hataki kuulizwa maswali. All right?
Because there's something you'll have to understand about the Kamba community. And no offense. The Kamba community, you remember back in the day when we were in school, there used to be the 4K club. Now in the Kambani, the 4K club is made up of 4 big Ks. Keima, Kemena, Kiwau, Chende. That is what I was about it. So if you translate, it's basically Keima is it jealousy? Yes. Kemena is hate. Kiwo is the one that is jealousy. Keima is kusikililia mtu vibaya. Holding a grudge or something like that. So Keima, Kemena, Kiwo, Chende. Chende is help your own to hell with everybody else. All right. So what Kalonzo is doing is exactly, it's a manifestation of the self.
Charles, you look like you have something to say about that.
Yes.
Wait.
But
So
wait, I'd like, just hold on 1 second. Just finish what you're saying, then we go to Kabiria, then we come back to you, Charles.
So the thing about Ukambani and the thing I have learned, I am half Kamba, half Luya. And before people realize I can actually speak Kamba, there will be a lot of negative communication about the other tribe.
Yes.
But then it breaks down to the other clan, which is the biggest problem within the Kamba community. They kill themselves before they start. And Kalonzo is the manifestation of murder of the self. We will
self-sabotage.
Exactly. We will give him all the opportunities. And he will do exactly the same thing he has done. Mimi nimeenda kuwa hiki na nisiulizwe maswali. Mimi nitauliza hizo maswali. Because the youth are the ones who are suffering on the ground. Let me just proceed. We will pick this up with my colleagues.
Yes. Kabiri, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Just before we go back to Charles. Charles, hold that thought. Okay.
Well, I think when we look at Kalonzo, you know, there are 2 things which guide the political space in the country. There is the issue of principle and the issue of interest. But when we look at the matters of principle, I can say that Kalonzo has lost on the matter of principle simply because we cannot say that this is what Kalonzo stands for. We can't see the firmness. We can't see like this is what really Kalonzo advocates for. Look at the matter of interest. And he was very specific that at my age, I'm not a person to gamble. From the clip, it's very clear, meaning that there is some interest which is saying, my time is running very fast, so I need now to hold the arrow so that I can be able now to shoot this is the last shot I have. So even by Kalonzo accepting, even taking the role, saying I'm to Mkono, it's being driven by the matter of interest. I can say it's a desperate move because he has been in the code for some time, and he's saying now this is the time either to revive myself in either my career or whatever financially. So I don't think it's guided by so much matters of principle. So it's self-driven and it's matter of self-interest.
All right, Charles, I would like to hear your response.
Let me say that the statement the former vice president did actually was misconstrued. Kuwa mtu wa mkono, hata Raila alikuwa anasema nitakuwa mtu wa mkono, and he was given a job. No one complained about it. No one actually came up and said, Raila, and now you are demeaning yourself or you are belittling yourself. And I don't know why Kenyans apply this principle selectively. There has been an issue of Kalonzo taking a job. It is kind of mtu wa mkono. But he said it on a light note that he wants to work alongside the president. Hiyo si kitu ya nini ati ya kuongea kila saa. Raila said it. Nobody complained. So why are we complaining when Kalonzo says it actually on a light note? He just said it on a light note. Right now, we know the role he played when he was Minister of Foreign Affairs. And he is really good at that. He's a master. He is a mastermind of that kind of diplomacy. He's a diplomatic person. I am so confident now Sudan will be on the right track when it comes to issues of stability, political, economical stability. When Kalonzo is there, So to me,
All right,
Echo.
Mheshimiwa. All right, Mheshimiwa. We'd like to understand the fate of the NASA coalition now, because, but before I go to that, I have a question for you, Rose. Now that you mentioned foreign affairs, according to Macau Mutua, he's the chairman of the KHCR, which is the Kenya Human Rights, and he talked about how when there was a time when Monica Juma, the CS of Foreign Affairs, was coming back to the country, a homecoming, and the Kamba leaders had shunned attending their homecoming, and they said it was because she was married to a Kikuyu. So she ceased to represent the Kamba. And the question was, like, Rose, you have aspirations of becoming a leader in the Kamba community. I'd like to put you on the spot for this particular incident. Can you please give us a more, is Macau Mutua telling us the truth? Did you guys do this based on the fact that she's married to a Kikuyu and now she belongs to the Kikuyus and not the Kamba, so she doesn't represent the Kamba interest?
Let me say that I don't associate myself with that statement. It is so unfortunate when we are looking at the issues of detoxicating and deionizing our country. I would like to say the statement was totally out of order. I don't discriminate any Kenyan on issues of tribalism. And if that statement came, it was not for the community. It was just a personal statement, and we take no responsibility. Monica Juma, it doesn't matter. She's a Kenyan. She's a CS. She deserves the respect. Personally, I missed the meeting because I was not invited. So I was not. I had to attend other issues with the Kenya Young Parliamentarian Association at cost, and it was successful. But at the moment, let me say that let us not associate ourselves with tribalism. Let us do away with it. Monica Juma is a Kenyan, not a Kamba or Kikuyu. It doesn't matter who marries her or what. So it was unfortunate to make that kind of a statement. So I need whoever said that professor to retract that statement and put it clearly.
Maybe people were just not invited.
We are. Okay. I was not invited, so that is why that is why I chose just to stay away. You cannot just go somewhere you have not been invited. So she had a reason, because she knows me, I'm firm. And I'm a wiper person, and it can't change. Hata Kalonzo akitoka nitambaki huko.
Okay, Rose. What is your response for this as an aspiring female leader?
Okay, there's something I've noticed. First of all, you'll notice when you introduced me as Rose Wanjala. Yes. But my full name is Rose Wavinya Wanjala. And no, I'm not married. Wavinya is from my mom's side, who was raised in Matungulu. Wanjala is from my mom's side, from my dad's side, from Kakamega. Now, when I was growing up, we used to be called Nzaluo. Nzaluo is basically Mjaluo. And Bilondo. So when I was growing up, it was like a curse not to be pure Kamba. But then the children I used to play with, they didn't care. The people who are close to us didn't care. But the politicians were very vehement. And one of them happens to actually live near our home. And they would say, you know, if any of the Nzaluos tries to vie for anything, they are not Kambas. But here's the funny thing. My age group, the people I know around me don't really care which tribe I'm from. So I mean, to Monica Juma, to hell with the people who give negative statements. There's a crop of Kenyans that is coming up who do not care where you come from. They care about what it is you're giving to them. And it's something I know, if I am to get into the Ukambani politics, I need to have substance rather than throwing around cash. I need to show my people what is it that I am bringing to you. So this whole thing of ethnicity, you'll find it's with a particular group of Kenyans whose minds have refused to open up. It's like walifungwa na ikafungwa na ile electronic drill, ikafungwa kabisa haiwezi funguka.
And it's like corruption.
Exactly.
It's just staying there with
exactly. I will concur with my colleague here. The Kamba community is one of the most open-minded community. And you'll find that there's currently a Kamba, I think she's an MP. She's a Kamba elected in the middle of Luyaland. And
Florence.
Exactly. And you'll find between the Kambas and the Luyas, there's an openness. They do not care. But you'll find there's that particular crop that just won't let it go because it makes them relevant.
Because it makes them relevant.
It makes them relevant. And these
Okay.
are the people we need to literally evict.
From leadership.
Exactly.
All right. Kaberia?
Well, I think that's very uncalled for at this era of time, whereby we have really evolved in so many aspects in terms of education, even technology, whereby people are interacting freely, and there's a lot of intermarriage and all that. So I have a lot of respect for Monica Juma because of the way she has been able to turn over whenever, whichever ministry she has been in. But when you look at whereby she's being looked from the tribal aspect, it means that there are other people in that community who are just trying to look at her, to look hard like somebody who is like a tribal leader. She's Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
Not representing
Yes.
Ukabani or any other tribe,
Yes.
but representing Kenya for all those the foreign things. So when people start looking at you are not married in this tribe, and that's not only one case of Monica Juma. We also have other female politicians. This tells you that there is a big problem with the mindset of people
Yes.
when they come to female politicians. The other day I was reading an article by Cecily Barire. She's not married. She's come from Embu region, but she's not married by a person from Embu. But really, at least the people have been able to endorse her. This is our leader. They have been able to give her an opportunity. So I think we need to look at a person, behold, who has married you, behold, which tribe you come from.
Yes.
This is the type of now leadership we say. This now the young people, we need to bring that revolution and change.
All right, very good. Now I can go back to the question on the fate of the NASA coalition when it comes to, because apparently Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka was supposed to bring 3.5 million votes come 2022 from Makueni, Machakos and Kitui. And we had the governor of Kitui, Charity Gilu, a few months ago endorsing this and saying that also all the Kamba leaders need to put some money aside with respect to funding Kalonzo Musyoka come 2022. Now that he's gotten the envoy job, and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has also gotten the infrastructure boss for African Union. We'd like to understand what's going to happen. What are we going to see come 2022 in regards with NASA?
Let me say those jobs we call UN or rather AU jobs, Sudan kind of a thing, those are not permanent jobs. And it is so clear, NASA, the principles are still united. I've not seen a lot of division on it. And we are not looking at NASA only. We also incorporate in Jubilee. I know there will be so many fallouts. There will be so many issues of quitting the party. We are looking for like-minded people to build a good political party which is going to govern this country the next election. Our cousins, they are here, they are coming, they are courting us. We'll be there soon. And I would like to advocate that issue. You recall the Kimbaki Kalonzo Musyoka government, it delivered fully through what they did. Actually, we can't, it's incomparable. So I'm still thinking we will still have a lot of changes before 2022, and I think it is too early to talk about 2022. At the moment, there will be so many political realignment, and let us accept it is time to work. It is time to improve our economic conditions in our country, time to improve livelihoods of Kenyans. At the moment, let us stop politics. But I know, as far as I'm concerned, NASA is united. What it means is just to make sure we reorganize and invite more like-minded people to make the party stronger. It will not be NASA. That one I can guarantee. It will be another name which is stronger than NASA. Of course, NASA won elections. Everybody knows that. And it was clean 8 million compared to 7 million. And when you repeated the elections, Uhuru Ruto coalition got 7 million. They just got the other time when we did. So it showed you that elections were stolen. But we still need to be united. Let us not go back to 2017 when we have already done the handshake. Let us focus on building Kenya. So that is me as far as I'm concerned.
So NASA will still stand, but it
NASA
might
will
have a
still
different
there, but
name.
a different name. That
Will
one.
it be called One Kenya, according to Kalonzo Musyoka's dream?
Soon we will launch. At the moment, we are not in political mood. We are in issues of handshake and to improve the economy of this country and also to spur the economic development of the country.
All right, we'll go to the referendum.
No politics. Yes.
We will go to the referendum shortly.
Yes.
No, because you said no politics. But first, let me hear from Rose and Kabiria in response to what they think with the fate of the NASA coalition.
I think it's dead. I'm not going to put it politely as you. It's dead. And I think also the coalition realized creating a coalition purely from particular ethnic groups to alienate another ethnic group was not going to work. So what they need to do is come back to the ground, incorporate all the ethnic groups within Kenya, or as much as they can, to be able to move forward, which means it cannot even be called NASA. So basically, NASA is functas official. Legally put functas official, but I will put it to the layman email. Go for.
Not NASA alone. Don't narrow down on
he
NASA.
has a point. He has a point. Both parties are dead.
Yes.
But what is going to come up will also probably die if they do not put into consideration the diversification that is in this country.
All right.
We are a diverse country, and creating, because you see, NASA was basically the Kambas and the Luos. You see,
And the Luyas.
Luyas, we don't really put them anywhere. They're still- no offense, I'm a Luya. I'm a Luya. But I understand
Charles
the
looks
Luyas.
like he has something.
It's like the Kambas and the Luyas are the two communities who will always be watermelons in this country unless they get their act together.
Okay. All right.
That is all I'm going to say.
I think you need to apologize to Kenyans. You need to apologize to Kenya. How can you call 8 million people tribes and Luyas? NASA got 8 million votes across the country. Actually, every province, the old regime, we had over 25% of the votes, even in central Kenya. We had a lot of votes. NASA was not a tribal outfit, it was a national outfit. So, in fact, if there's a party which is so tribal, it's Jubilee.
All right.
Because it
Let's
was
not
only
go into
Kikuyu
that.
and
Let us not go into
So,
that.
I would like her to withdraw the statement.
Rose, okay,
Yes,
will you
let
withdraw?
her withdraw the statement.
Will you withdraw so that
I
we
will
can...
not apologize for that. It is fact. It is fact. I am made up of these two communities, and my mother and my father used to have those particular discussions in the house. But actually, NASA was a Luo entity, and the people who brought NASA up was the Luo community. And you will find the Luo community has a particular unity you can only dream of. But Mkamba na Mluya washtue kidogo. What is that word? Dispersing like wild beast when the lions approach.
All right. Rose. Charles thinks you're out of order.
No, I am not out of order. I do not believe in sugarcoating politics,
Yes.
because this sugarcoating is what is bringing us the problems that we have in Kenya today. We
Okay.
need leaders who
Okay.
will say it as it is.
All right. Thank you for saying it as it is. All right, Kabiria, let's hear from you, the analyst.
I think there's good temperature, and let me bring in some ice to cool down the conversation. When we talk of NASA coalition or any other coalition, it's not mostly built on principles, as I said. It is, who are these people who are making the coalition, and what are they bringing on the board? And as you said, Kalonzo was saying that I'm ready to bring the 3.5 million Kamba votes.
Yes.
So his bargaining power, yes, very true, you have said he did. That means his bargaining power was his tribe. Because when you talk of 3.5, it's the three region, Makueni, Kitui, and Machakos. The same thing, Raila had his bargaining power. So I think now when you look as the interest changed, which they had in 2017, maybe in 2022, the answer is yes and no. Simply because, as Mheshimiwa said, there will be a lot of fallout. Many people will join, other people will leave. But currently, as things are now, there's a lot of disagreement, because look at the thing of Mudavadi. Mudavadi was strong, saying that I do not buy this issue of Raila and Kalonzo now going towards the government. We don't have a strong opposition. And we saw fallout from even the time of swearing in. Kalonzo himself he just claimed that he was under house arrest when he was having some tea in some restaurant. I don't want to mention. So I think it's a matter of interest as opposed to principles. If his interest will be factored in Jubilee, I know Mweshimiwa is burning to respond to that because he's an ardent Wiper member and a close ally to maybe
the right honorable, yes.
But the thing is now the interest and the principles in us, I can't see them.
All right, let's hear the rest.
Let me correct Kaberia. When Kalonzo promised 3.5 million votes, they were not based on Ukambani or region only. You remember the governor of Taita Taveta is from Wiper. Kalonzo has got control, is a national leader. If you look at several members of parliament, even Kisii, we have got Momanyi, who is our commissioner, is from Wiper. Kalonzo has an influence of these 3.5 million votes across the country, not only Ukambani region, and we can testify that through the number of MPs in Ghana and in parliament and where they came from. They offered 20-something members of parliament came across all the places in this country. We have got MCAs even in Luya land who are Wiper. We have got MCAs from Kisii land, from Coast, from everywhere, senators from all over. So I just wanted to correct this Kaberia who is saying he promised to Ukambani votes region only. So that is not good.
This is not a good statement.
It's not a good statement.
All right. Let's move away from the fate of the NASA coalition and go into the referendum, which has been quite a topic when it comes to the cause of referendum. This particular visit that Kalonzo Musyoka had to the former President Daniel Arap Moi, there's one person who featured in that particular guest list was the MP of Kasait, Kamket of Tahiti, sorry. And he had drafted a constitutional amendment bill seeking to establish a single 7-year ceremonial presidency and introduction of an executive prime minister. Given these dynamics, how will this affect or improve this particular bid for Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency come 2022?
Okay, let's first start with that particular referendum. I don't think this is the right time for it. We are wasting too much time and too many funds are going to be put into the referendum. What I would propose is we do it like the midterms for the US. If you're going to have a vote at a particular time when everybody else is being elected, you also vote on these other things, which means we increase our voting stations to to a point where in the US you can literally vote in somebody's garage and then go and do your other things. I believe the referendum, it's not the right time. We can't be doing referendums every time a person does not get a job.
So you don't really believe that we need any constitutional reviews?
No, we need the reviews. We just don't need to have an election by itself to cater to that. Let it be merged with another general election so that we don't end up overspending on elections. Now, secondly, I agree, of course, we need a lot of reviews. In fact, we need to increase the number of women in parliament to 70%.
Oh, but of course.
Not
The men are not taking us there.
The men are too busy doing what men always do. Grab and grab and grab. A man is wired to think of themselves. A woman is wired to think of literally everything else that a man will not think about.
Okay, Rose, it appears today you have two statements to withdraw.
Today I'm being asked I will not. I live to God the man. I'm the only lady in a family of 3 men.
Okay, all right, let's hear from Charles Mheshimiwa. Let's hear from you. This calls for referendum. What will happen to the likes of the political players such as Kalonzo Musyoka, if indeed it goes through?
We are actually talking wasting 12 billion shillings, which actually we can use to build a road like Thika Superhighway. And I think this issue of referendum, we need to sit down and let us evaluate what are we changing and what impact are we going to have to the lives of the Kenyans.
Yes.
Not creation of parliamentary kind of a thing system with the prime minister and staff. So I think those who are calling for cause of referendum, they need to come out clearly and explain to Kenyans what are we changing for and what do we need to change.
Yes.
But now referendum just all over because there's creation you want to, and you are using you want to reduce the number of counties. Let me warn you, Kenyans, and you want to reduce the number of constituents to 90, counties to 8. I am going to tell you, we are going back to marginalization again. These areas which never got CDF will again be marginalized. These areas, when it comes to issues of 80 counties, which never actually witnessed any development, will be marginalized again. Let us be very careful when we are making this statement. The issue of government having big budget for members of parliament, it is wrong. Let us reduce wastage in ministries. If you go to any ministry now, you will find just courts hanging all over. People come, they go to do other business, they are not working.
Yeah.
I already agree there are so many ghost workers in these ministries, and that is why we are saying the wastage is in executive, not in parliament. Wastage is in executive. Just to reduce the number of MPs, you will go back to marginalization.
Actually,
And
it was
I am totally opposing
The
reduction of constituencies and counties. But we can do away with the nominated senators,
Yes, the
nominated women
nominated,
reps,
okay, yeah.
nominated MCAs. I don't see what the economic value they add to this country,
All right,
apart
so-
from adding the expenditure to the government.
Adding expenditure.
Yes,
So this
or
about
rather pleasing their bosses. Because even nomination, it comes, who do you know in the party? Nomination, we don't even know what criteria they use. But nomination for people with disability, we accept.
Yes.
That one at least we accept.
Yeah. And for the
Nomination on issues with, yes, I think nomination now should come to issues of disabilities. We let us spare that one, because people with disability, of course, they are disadvantaged.
Yes.
But how can you nominate somebody who has got every kind of an organ, who can go and ask for votes? So here to finally, let's do away with it.
Actually, I'm glad that you mentioned that about the impact of reviewing the constitution and the reduction of counties. We actually had this conversation last week with some young leaders over here, and there was an issue of even conflict arising. Once you merge some counties, there might be some conflict that might also arise, and the marginalization issue will bring back control back to the main, to the national government. The control will go back. So I do agree with you. Possibly there could be some marginalization.
Yes.
However, I'd like to hear from Kabiria and Rose. What, in light of these calls of referendum, when it comes to this succession 2022 politics, what do you think is going to happen?
I think when you look at the referendum, and sometimes we say, when you see a dog barking, don't look at the dog, look at who is behind the dog. So when you hear there is these MPs who are trying to bring up the whole issue of referendum, they are not their own voices. There's some forces behind them who are trying to use them maybe to bring out their own agenda. Mheshimiwa will agree or disagree with me, because that's what has been happening. But now when you look, what is the motive behind referendum?
Yes, the
They said that
motives,
this
yes.
is the time they have felt that the wage bill, it's too high. This is the time that they felt that the recurrent budget is bigger than the development budget. I'd say no. Because when you look even at the previous regime, these same issues were there. There are other pressing issues, like the matters of youth unemployment. If the referendum is not geared towards solving issues which are currently affecting the young people, the common mwananchi, then you say it's selfish. And when we want to look at what is their drive towards reducing maybe the counties or that, there is other proposals of trying to create positions which are maybe equivalent to the president's or executive, meaning that as they are pushing that, they have some people in mind, or they have some people like, because this era, there are some people who are going to be jobless in terms of politics. The term for governors, we know it's 10 years.
Yeah.
Those people started now the race of governors by 2022, they will not be eligible to vie for governors again. Where will they go? So some people are saying now, look at even the president. After 2022, where will he go? So like, it is coming to a life cycle whereby some people are going to be phased out. So I think it is so much objected and geared towards creating position and impact to some specific people, but with these guys here.
So you believe it is some kind of contingency plan?
Yes, somehow.
Okay.
Yes, but on the other side also there are some other, there's something we call maybe the let me use collateral damage. Maybe if you are targeting one person and you will come and maybe you bomb a place, not because you wanted to harm the 700 people, but there's one that target person. So I think we are being used as now this, we have these good issues, but in the long run, there is that
a target.
Yes.
All right, great.
I think I'm going to approach this from 3 angles. The first one, you'll realize in Africa, there are very few countries with living ex-presidents, ex-members of parliament, because we are too busy trying to give them positions. But I mean, if you look at the US, Obama finished his term and he has not died because he has left presidential office. It doesn't mean because you have lost or because your term has ended, it's our job to give you a job. You should have the capability to think of where you're going to go afterwards. It's not our job to plan succession for you. So this is not a burden that should be brought to the Mananchi. That one I am in total disagreement.
All right.
In fact, secondly, we need to have a trim government. We need to trim it so that it's okay if we have 10 counties, but with enough representation within the 10 counties to cater for each demographic. It's better to have few on top, because you see, the higher up you go, the more the wage bill grows. So if we can trim the higher up and increase the down here, then that makes sense. But not increase the higher up, still increase down here. I mean, what are we doing? We are hemorrhaging money. Now, lastly, there is a topic I never allow to be touched, and that is women representative. Mheshimiwa, ukitaka tupigane, guza wanawake. I cannot agree to that, because a woman in this country will be treated less than a disabled person. Go somewhere when it's 2 women and a man who is in a wheelchair, or even a man who is a cabbage on a bed. The man will get a position and the woman will not. We have not yet gotten to a point where the Kenyan will look at a woman as an individual. If somebody looks at me, if I am vying for something, it is not going to be what is Rose bringing on the table. No, it's who does Rose know? Who is behind her? Who is she married to? Who does she hang around with? It does not matter if Rose is having an ingenious idea on how to make their word better. No, it's not. And that is why I will never, ever, as long as I am alive, agree to any position of a woman being touched.
Okay.
No.
So you don't agree with any calls for...
In fact, we need to increase the number of women.
All right.
That is the one thing I will agree. Let us increase the number of women.
Okay, Mheshimiwa looks like he's burning to respond.
Yeah, let me say that if it was my wish and if it was my preference, I would prefer parliament with equal men, equal women in numbers. But we need to remind our women, or rather our sisters, that you need to fight for every position you want in this country. If you want to be given preference more than men, you have to fight for it. Even in competition, why do we always look at parliament when it comes to issues of representation? Women can play other role, like in the executive. You can force the president to appoint equal number with the CSs to men. Other places like parastatals, we can balance. When it comes to the issues of gender role, always applied in parliament only and not other places. You cannot force wananchi to elect a woman because you want to satisfy that gender role. Let wananchi democratically choose their leader. If you are good, you are good. Because I'll give you an example. In my county, I have got a governor who is a woman.
Yes, Charity Ngilu.
Yes, Kitui County, that gender rule, it's already achieved. We have got members of parliament who are women. So those communities who are not electing their women are the ones who need to go back and think the position of a woman.
Yes.
So let us not just elect women for the sake of taking them to parliament so that we can equal the number. When we are fighting actually to reduce the number of constituencies.
All right,
my sister, fight for your position and you'll be elected.
All right, Mheshimiwa, one second.
Close that. Let me tell you something. When you and I go against each other for a particular position, you already have mileage. I don't, by virtue of the fact that my organs are not the same as yours. Even when you get out of high school, the boys have a better advantage than the ladies.
Okay.
By the time I got to where I am
It's
today,
debatable. It's
no,
debatable,
it's not
Rose.
debatable. It's a fact. I have gone through it. By the time I have gotten to where I am today, I have had to fight. I have had to develop clothes I did not think I had. Do everything 10 times more than a man to get to where I am. So that is why I'm telling you, it's a position that we are not going to argue. You have not lived through my experiences.
Okay, Rose, come on. It's okay. Let's just relax. Let's calm
let
down.
us let the
Let's
analyst
calm down.
things down.
Wait 1 second, even before we move to the analyst, it's about time we conclude this segment. So I need your responses really quick. And Mheshimiwa, you mentioned Charity Ngilu, and she's the one who had backed Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka come 2022. Now that he has said yani mtu wa mkono and what have you, do you still believe she's going to back him? And you said that her stand might have changed and might not have changed. So let's talk about unlikely alliances.
Let me correct the Kenyans and the world. Mtu wa mkono, it was on a light note for Kalonzo Musyoka. He just meant that the handshake it's happening, and we need to join each other to serve Kenyans and the world. So hiyo kitu ya mtu ya mkono, Kenyans should not take it what it is. Don't do it in direct translation. Secondly, I'm sure our governor is supporting Kalonzo Musyoka fully, and he is the right person now to take over the mantle.
All right,
Yes,
all right.
Kenyatta.
All right, Mheshimiwa. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm so sorry. It's about time we conclude this segment. These people are going to be removed. Like, seriously, we are being chased out of studio. But thank you so much for coming, you guys. It's been such a blessing. You have been watching Youth and Politics. Please don't go anywhere. Man Crush Monday with Kalamival is coming up next. And in case you missed anything and you came when Rose was in her emotions, pale YouTube, you can find us at Y254 channel and find out just why Rose was as hot as she was today. Thank you guys so much. Do you want to say any parting shots? We are leaving.
Thank you for viewing today. Follow all of us on social media. We will always pick up the discussions over there. But afadhali tupatie Ngilo, chaneni na Kalonzo.
Thank you so much for watching.